Hello everyone, it's Silvia. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to have a look at the good old-fashioned tarot and oracle decks haul. Now I'm going to start with a couple of decks that I have shown you before, simply because I needed them for a video, for the content of a video, and this one is the Modern Life Oracle. Let me just zoom in because this is a very interesting deck, I have to say. I had no idea this deck existed. I had never seen it before, and then one day a friend of mine who's into tarot, she contacted me and she said she's found an Etsy shop that is called Mighty Bundle, I think, and she bought the PDF files of several decks. They're all legitimate, so this company on Etsy owns the rights for these decks, and they're basically not selling the finished product. They're not selling the actual decks, they're not selling the cards, but they are selling the PDF, and they also give out pretty good instructions on how to print them. And so she had a bunch of these decks printed out, and she sent this one to me because that was the one that I actually prefer out of all of them. This is it is clearly a modern take on an oracle deck, but I have to say many of these cards are really well thought. There's a lot that goes on in these cards, not just when it comes to symbols, but also the association between the images on the card themselves and the words or the title, let's say, on the cards is, I believe, perfect. And it's very conducive for a lot of really good work. So this is one of the decks that I actually prefer to use by itself, because even though I can find possibly a tarot deck that I can pair this up with, and I'm thinking about, for example, the Midnight City, which is an indie tarot deck about the city of New York. These two would pair up really nicely together, but I'm also thinking about any other deck that has that kind of same vibes. And staying for the city of New York, I'm thinking also of the Urban Tarot, for example, that would pair up quite nicely with these images. But I believe that the messages that come out of these cards are so very intense, and there's so much that you can think about and journal about and meditate about when you pull even just one of these cards, that I think that it's actually enough, and it doesn't necessarily need to be seen in the context of a couple of tarot cards on the sides like I generally do. So it's just that this card makes me chuckle all the time. Autocorrect victim. I've been a victim of autocorrect. So many ducks, right? So many ducks. So social battery drained, meal prep mastermind, the cat lady. Hi, I'm a cat lady. I'm also a dog lady. I mean, I love both. Selfie fail, laundry mountain climber, the parallel parker pro, the meme lord, the trend chaser. I have to say there's a couple of these cards that really convinced me to buy this deck, or rather not buy it, but that was the one that I wanted out of the group of, I believe it were 5 decks in total that this friend of mine purchased and had printed out, and the Hungry Beast. So I really like the vibe of this deck. It is clearly modern, and it's almost as if it were a child, let's say, between one of the 2 tarot decks that I talked about before, so either the Midnight City or the Urban Tarot and the Millennial Tarot, because it does feel like it's got more or less the same vibes, but it is an oracle deck. And I have to say, because of that, it's not restrained by the meanings of the cards, of the tarot cards. And so it can literally go places where a tarot deck doesn't necessarily go. And it does so in an incredibly poignant way, but also very, very clever. Highly recommend this, but as I said, this is a deck that I'm not entirely sure whether you can find already printed. I don't think you can, but in any case, if you go to Etsy and you look for Mighty Bundles, you will find this deck together with other decks, and you can download the printable files, and then you can obviously use your favorite printer to print these cards out. They do own the property rights to this deck. This one is really a deck that I really like to use, and I like to meditate on it. I like to use it for journaling prompts, and it works really, really, really well. The next one is another tarot deck that I ordered for my birthday. As a matter of fact, I think I actually ordered it on my birthday. And it is thanks to the many vouchers and gifts that I received on my birthday from friends. And it just came before I filmed the video about why I love weird decks so much. And I included that in this video, but I realized that I never actually officially filmed an introductory video. This is a deck that is absolutely not everyone's cup of tea, and I know that I do say that a lot, but if I do say it's for a reason. It's almost as if this were a trigger warning for someone who's about to watch a TV video or about to read a book. I strongly believe that there are decks that I personally really like and love and use all the time that are quite intense to the point of possibly being confrontational and stressing to other people. And it's not that they're not stressing for me, it's just that I need that kind of push sometimes. We're all different, we all enjoy different things, we all have different tastes, and we all find a cathartic action coming from different images, I think. And to me, obviously this is very personal, but this is a very cathartic kind of deck. So it's called the Soul Splash Tarot, and this one you can find it both on Vermilion Collection and Tevada. And it comes with instructions, as you can see. I had a quick look, but to be honest with you, it's nice. It's not just your usual little white book, as in, oh, okay, the Four of Wands, it's a ceremony, it's a wedding, it's the union. It's not just a little white book with 4 keywords. It does have a little bit of an affirmation for, in this case, it's like, if you're not afraid of lurking dangers, dance with me in the fire, our party begins. And obviously there is the association with the alchemical element of fire, which is obviously part of the wand, the Suit of Wands. And it's an affirmation or an invitation. Then if you see here, it says, for the girl, the blazing fire is not a threat, but a celebration. She burns the past to seek inner peace. Despite the destruction, her eyes reflect hope. She looks up joyfully, her smile serene. This moment marks the start of our celebration. The future is bright. So as you can see, it doesn't necessarily give you a way to read the card, but it tells you about the meaning of the card in this particular deck. And that's one of the things that I appreciate in a deck, because it gives me the perspective of the creator. And since I'm not a beginner at tarot, I already know all of the keywords that I would normally associate with this card in specific. But I'm very grateful to be able to look at this card with through different eyes. And so this is what the guidebook will offer to you. It is, in that sense, is actually very powerful. But then again, you don't find pages and pages for each and every card. It is just a matter of a couple of paragraphs and that's it. They are very intense though, so I would say I really like it. I really appreciate it. Now this deck is in linen, and it's got a very nice tactile feel to it, and it is at the same time very sturdy. But it's got an excellent bounce to it. As you can see, it comes gilded in this really gorgeous copper orange, I should call it, or more like, so it's a copper orange that with flashes of red. Does that make sense? I'm not an expert in color. I used to work for a company that dealt with colors and Pantone colors, and I lost all that knowledge. It's fine. It's just the more you learn about other stuff, you have to make room for older stuff. And you know, I mean, colors, I can Google it, right? So this is, as I said, I was having a nice conversation with one of my members about this deck, and she was saying that she actually likes it. And I said, once I get past the teeth, And that is my main reason why I would always say this deck is not for everyone, because of the teeth. So as you look at the images, it is a very recognizable type of art style because it is manga-like. I mean, clearly manga-like. But what happens is that it feels like it's one of those horror manga. And I don't know if you ever watched a horror anime. There's a lot of games by, is that Chilla? I think it's called Chilla. And it is, they produce independent horror games. They're not extremely long. They're about probably 2-3 hours long. And they're based in Japan. And they're always very dark, very, very dark. But from my point of view, let me just say I adore them because it is my bread and butter. I mean, it is something that I consume on a daily basis, and I don't know whether I desensitize myself to this kind of genre, but at the same time, I also want to look beyond the scary factor and the jump factor. And I developed the ability, thanks to many, many, many movies and many, many, many books and also games, video games and everything. I developed the ability to look or read between the lines of these movies or, you know, horror games and everything. And I see the humanity of them. I don't know whether I'm fooling myself. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm just trying to find a justification because I really love this kind of genre. But at the same time, this is very recognizable, all of the teeth, you know. It is one of the things that looks inhuman. And so it is disturbing for us, of course. But once you get past the teeth, and I was talking about these 2 of Wands the first time in which I talked about this deck. These 2 of Wands, the expression on the face of this character is of yearning. She is longing for something that she doesn't have yet. And I really love the way in which this has been depicted in this card. Because at the same time, it really talks about the spirit of the 2 of Wands. Wanting to reassess your life and putting everything you have in your hand and finding out that your whole world is so small that it actually fits onto the palm of your hand. And so you want to start expanding your horizon. You want your world to be bigger. And so you long for something more. And this is exactly what this figure, to me, communicates. So I was talking about this, and I do believe that the main element that could, let's say, represent a bit of a trigger is the teeth in all of these characters. Because this one, for example, yes, she's got bloody tears, so perhaps does that. But let's say whenever there's this one, for example, the 2 of Swords, so this character, this is a very disturbing card because you can see a black hand that is let's say stopping the person from speaking out, and she's trying to remove this black hand, and obviously she is expressing concern and she's expressing fear as well. And on the one hand, I can totally associate that with the meaning of the 2 of Swords, because you're kind of stuck. And the 2 options that you have in front of you, well, guess what? None of them is actually a good one. And so that is the reason why you feel paralyzed, and there is the impossibility to see, generally speaking, as a symbol from this RWS, because the character is blindfolded. But in this case, you know, they cannot speak. So, sorry, they cannot speak. So obviously, this points to the same kind of paralysis, but it's a paralysis of the chakra, for example, the throat chakra, because they cannot express themselves, rather than the third eye chakra, because they cannot see or they cannot understand what the situation is. I like it. I like this interpretation. You don't see any teeth in this card. And even though, yes, the concept is disturbing, I don't believe that the image itself is. So perhaps once we get past, you know, the quirkiness, the weirdness, and also the darkness, let's face it, of these cards, you actually start enjoying the deck for what it is, which is, yes, a manga style modern take on tarot, but it is one of those decks that really can give you the possibility to become a better reader, because starting from your knowledge of tarot and then looking through these images, you start making associations, and thanks to those associations, you end up knowing more about the cards. So really, really love it. I love the backs as well. It's a dark deck. It's a weird deck. It's a dark deck. It is what it is. It's really corresponding to my taste. I never hid anything. I never said that I like, you know, the cute stuff. I also like the cute stuff every now and then. I mean, when I talked about the Yasmin Westwood, the Westwood Tarot, which is based on animals dressed as in a steampunk attire, I just love that deck so much. And it's a magical deck, and it's a cute deck. It's very positive. There's absolutely not one shadow in that deck, and yet at the same time I love it. It's not my taste, but I still love it. So I want to expand into that part, that realm, that kind of world of tarot decks that are really, really cute. I just have so many that are very dark, and now it feels like it's time to expand on that area as well. But for now, the Soul Splash Tarot is absolutely gorgeous. And now I'm going to show you 3 decks that are completely new. Not that the first 2 were not new, it's just that I never properly introduced them. So these coming 3, I actually haven't even opened them, so I will do an unboxing together with you guys. And these are all thanks to a few Amazon gift vouchers that I received, and so I just took advantage of that and I ordered some of these decks. This is the Dark Goddess Oracle deck by Caitlin McCarthy. I saw this deck so many times because this is not a new deck. I mean, I think it was published in the last part of last year, probably September, October 2024. I never really thought about buying it because, let's face it, I have a lot of goddesses themed decks, whether it's tarot decks or oracle decks. But then I'm actually thinking about prepping a video about all of my goddesses decks, because I honestly have too many. You know how we always say that we have too many botanical decks, and you know, do I really need another one? I feel like I've reached a point in which I'm asking myself if do I really need another goddess deck? If it were masculine energy and gods, I would definitely go for it, but I haven't found anything suitable yet. I'm still waiting for the Blue Angel famous Divine Masculine deck that I still cannot find anywhere. We'll see, we'll see. In any case, this one, when I would go into all of my dark goddesses or goddesses decks, tarot decks and oracle decks, I realized that most of them don't have keywords, which really upsets me to a point that I'm actually considering at least 1 or 2 of them to be rehung, because I don't use them. If I don't have keywords, I don't use them, because I don't necessarily know straight away out of 50, 60, 70 goddesses, I don't immediately know the keywords to associate with them. And I know that I will gather that knowledge by going to the guidebook and reading it, which I do, but I don't always retain the information. And if I do, sometimes I just forget or I'm not certain. And when I'm using those decks, that creates a little bit of a interruption in the flow of my readings, which means that I'm lifted away from the reading and it's distracting. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm actually considering rehoming them. And then I was looking at this deck and I realized that it's got keywords, and so that made me really happy. And I don't understand what this is. I think it's done to prevent the cards from moving. I think, I'm not entirely sure, but it was here. So I'll see if I want to keep it or not. In any case, so this is the deck. It comes with this guidebook. And let's have a look at the guidebook. So in here at the beginning, I imagine there's a little bit of an introduction. There's a couple of spreads using the cards, etc. There's the table of contents, of course. And I like the fact that for each and every one of these goddesses, you also have in the table of contents the main keyword associated with that. So for example, the kayak is with rest, which is not something that I would normally associate with a kayak. I mean, I know that it is a goddess that has an incredible literature behind it, so you can go on reading about the kayak for ages, but I'm not entirely sure, because she's the crown obviously, but I'm not entirely sure that rest will be the first main keyword that we think of. One of the keywords for sure. That's interesting. And then for example, Demeter with abundance, Durga with strength, or Hell with judgment, Isis with healing, and so on and so forth. So I really like it because you can find it immediately here. But then obviously it goes into the cards, and it's got a good page for each and every one of these goddesses. And Circe, for example, it says manifest, and then it talks about the myth, so it tells you a little bit about the story for this goddess and the meaning when we're using this as a tarot, as an oracle deck, sorry. So I think that this is complete. I honestly don't think that I would look for anything other than this one in a guidebook for a deck like this one. And these are the cards. One of the reasons why I was hesitating is because it is all in black and white, and obviously that means that when I'm looking for a tarot deck to pair it with, my choice will be slightly more limited had this deck been in full color. I don't necessarily mind that. That is definitely not a deal breaker. I really do appreciate the art style. It is very beautiful. And I already know which decks I'm going to pair it with, so that is not a problem at all. I'm already thinking about, for example, the Naked Heart tarot, and maybe the Tarot of the Abyss, because I think that those two, even though the Naked Heart does have colors, but it's splashes of colors, I'm thinking also, for example, Dark Days, the Dark Days tarot would definitely work well with this one, even though it's a square deck. And possibly other decks, the Hide tarot, any other deck that is still in black and white, or that possibly has a muted color palette with only 2 or 3 different colors, because it will pair up well. It will not clash, let's put it this way, it will not clash with the tone of this deck and the vibes that come out of it. And I have to say, I really like this art style. I think I'm gonna like this deck. This is literally the first time that I look at all of the cards, and this is an unboxing, so these are just my first impressions, and it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not going to change my mind. But so far, I'm liking the fact that I find the keywords here, and I just need to understand whether I resonate with these specific keywords when it comes to these specific goddesses, which is not always the case, but I'm hoping that it will be. So this one, really interesting, and I really appreciate the way in which it has been done. And then I'm just going to show you a tarot deck that I saw on Etsy, and I had never seen it before, but it really caught my attention, and I really like it. So this is called the Solar Logos. Solar Logos is basically the symbol of the sun. Logos is a Greek word that talks about talking as well. It means talking as well. So talking about solar, so the sun. It is a complex kind of concept, but I believe that it is a way in which the sun is talking to us. I could be completely wrong. This is, again, first impression, so please bear with me. So as I said, Etsy shop, I believe that this deck was out of print for a while, and then the creator decided to organize another print, and I was very lucky, because the moment in which I decided that I wanted to put a pre-order in, she had just received the decks. She's based in the UK, and I highly, if you like this deck, as I said, Solar Logos Tarot on Etsy. If I remember, I will put the link in the description box below. I personally really like it. It feels like this is a very sturdy cardstock. This feels like a 400. I could be wrong, but it's definitely not a 350. And it does have that kind of a very soft, almost velvety feel to the touch. However, it's not a rose petal. It's more like papery, cardboardy, but it is very good. It's a very good tactile feel, and it's got an excellent bounce. So as you can see, this is one of those decks that you have absolutely no problems in using. You can take it with you. You can use it all the time. You can read with it all the time because it doesn't feel like it's gonna be damaged anytime soon. And I just really loved, when I saw it, what really caught my attention was the balance between the colors. As you can see in all of the cards, there's one or two colors and not much more of that. And then there's a lot of gray. And it reminds me a bit of the concept of a deck that you guys know that I love so much, absolutely, which is the Savvy Soul Tarot. So it feels like the concept of keeping, for example, characters in gray, but then having them surrounded by splashes of color, but limited one. It tells us that we are the ones that need to look at this. It's almost as if you were a clean start. So gray is a color that you can fill in with other colors, your own personal choices. And so I like that concept. I don't know whether that was the intention of this particular creator, but as I said, it was the intention of Judy Whitelish when she was creating the Savvy Soul. So I'm thinking I could probably apply that to this deck as well. I really love all of these cards. The aesthetics of this deck is very beautiful. I really like it and appreciate it. I also like the fact that at the same time it presents you almost as if it were a bridge between a modern take and a more traditional one to tarot. I love this Temperance card, for example, which is a very unusual way to present the Temperance card. But this to me is more pointing to the healing side of Temperance, because Temperance is also representing time, and the passing of time in many cases is seen as healing, whether we believe it or not. I used to say to people telling me whenever I was going through something, or whenever I lost my mom or my best friend, and people telling me, time will fix things, with time you'll feel better, and I used to just hate them. Yeah, I was very upset. I used to be very upset at someone telling me that, because the pain was so strong, and I thought to myself, I will never stop grieving for the loss that I'm going through. And nowadays I have changed my mind slightly. I still don't believe that time heals. I don't believe that. But time certainly makes you, let's say, forget things, or it blurs the lines a little bit, and that gives you the possibility to feel less often like you have lost the world. I don't know if I'm making sense. Let me know what you think, but it is a concept that every time that someone says, oh, with time, give it time, seriously. Yeah, give it time. Okay, yeah, as simple as that. Sure. Look at the Tower card, really beautiful. So let me know what you think about time. Does that heal things, or is it just because you don't remember as well, or you become so busy with other things that you get distracted? Or is that supposed to be what the sentence time heals is referring to? Maybe I'm just not understanding it. Love this Star card and the Moon. This might be one of my favorite sounds, because it's actually really beautiful, very modern take on it, but very nice. And the Judgment card is very powerful, very strong. The World card. And then looking at the minors, I was pleased to see that it is fully scenic, so it's not a peepish deck, as you can see. It is very modern still, but it's very beautiful, and I love the fact that there is this really strong accent to the alchemical element presented by the suits. So we see the fire, for example, in all of the wands, and when we're looking, but for example, looking at the core cards are really beautiful as well. This King of Wands is amazing, and it's also because it reminds me of a couple of festivals that I've seen myself, that I've witnessed myself in Burma, in Thailand and Nepal. and where there was a kind of a ceremony, and then someone, you know, either walking or even running with a torch or a flame like that. It was just really amazing. And then the Ace of Cups. Of course, we see the color blue because that is referred to the element of water. Loving these 5 of Cups, absolutely. And the 6 of Cups is really beautiful as well, and the 8 of Cups. I don't know if you can tell, but I actually really love this deck. One thing that I would like to say, but that is just my observation, and it's because this is 2025, and I believe that at this point in life and in tarot life, we understand that representation should be all encompassing. I would say that maybe I would have loved to see more body shape represented, and skin tones is there, but also age and different abilities. But then again, this is just me, and you know, in many cases, honestly, I can still work with a deck like this. It's I have decks like the Mythos Tarot that are just really perfect, or I have perfect, and by perfect I mean picture perfect or Vogue perfect. And I have other decks like the Ephemera Tarot. To me, those characters, they transcend humanity. They are not representing humanity. They are not meant to be representing humanity. Those are archetypes, and as such, they need to be perfect. But not perfect for me or for a photographer or for a fashion show. That's not what I mean. I mean ethereal. That's the only thing that I mean with that. I don't think that we are at the stage of ethereal or portraying ethereal beings in this case, but I still really like these cards. And obviously the Queen of Swords being Japanese with a kimono and the owl, I just really like it. So of course it's a deck that I really like. My apologies, I just realized that for the last couple of minutes the main camera, the face camera, wasn't working. I'm still experimenting with different cameras and different gear, so please bear with me. This one was still going, the top gem was still going, so you will still be able to see the cards, but for a couple of minutes you won't be able to see my face. But here I am again. So I was saying, really loving this deck. Solar Logos Tarot. As I said, on Etsy, really beautiful, excellent cardstock. I really like the backs as well, even though I have to say, I noticed in a couple of them that there is a little bit of, they are, I don't know if you can tell, but they are peeling a little bit. I know how to fix this, or at least I've been told how to fix this, so I hope that it's not going to be a problem. I'm sure that it was just one of those things that sometimes happen. So this deck, really beautiful. I already know. Unfortunately, I was waiting for a tarot, for an oracle deck, also from Blue Angel. I don't know what's going on with Blue Angel because, so Blue Angel is based in Australia, and generally speaking, they release decks in Australia first and then in the rest of the world. But even though they keep on saying that some of the latest decks have been released, I cannot find them anywhere, not even on Amazon, nowhere. Only on their website, but it's not easy to get a delivery date within 2 weeks. So I'm just wondering what's going on, and I'm thinking that maybe they're just pushing forward the issuing date or the release date just to match it with the release date in the US. I'm not entirely sure, but there is a really gorgeous oracle deck which is called Feminine Myths, by Odonovan, who's a Brazilian artist. She's the same Brazilian artist behind the illustrations of the Soul Mirror Oracle by Sunshine Connolly, and also the Odonovan. She's also the creator of the Nova Witch Tarot, which is also published by Blue Angel. I've been looking for that deck for 2.5 weeks everywhere, couldn't find it, as I said, just in their website. Any other website says they don't have it in stock, so I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen, but that deck will pair up really nicely with that tarot. Moving on, and this is the last deck I'm going to show you today. I'm very excited about this one because this is a tarot deck that used to be an indie deck, and now it's been released mass market by Wiser, and I bought it on Amazon because it is finally available in Australia as well. And I got this one also thanks to a couple of vouchers that I received from my birthday. So I would say that even all of the decks from today, so the 5 decks that you have seen today, they are all still part of a birthday haul. It's just that obviously they arrived slightly later, let's put it this way. So this is the Tarot of the Cosmic Seed by Lelania Simone. I also have the Oracle of Awakening, and I just backed the Myth Weaver's Tarot, which I believe that at the time of filming already, the campaign on Kickstarter has ended. Sorry about that, but it has been advertised quite a fair bit. You may have seen it. I think that it's a completely different deck, the Myth Weaver, from everything that Lelania has been doing so far, and it looks really, really interesting, and I'm really interested in seeing what the end results will be. But this one, I'm stoked about this deck. I don't think that it's got a massive amount of information when it comes to the little white book, because as you can see here, it does literally just tell you a couple of keywords and perhaps one paragraph for each and every card. And then when you go into the minor arcanas, it's even less. But it doesn't matter. I did not buy this deck for the guidebook. I bought this deck for the images, and let's face it, I mean, it is a really beautiful deck. And look, even the gilding is one of my favorite colors, because I really, really love the teal green and teal blue colors. So this one is one of my favorites. And it feels and looks like one of those really high quality gilding as well. I don't think it might actually lose a little bit of glitter. I'm not entirely sure. We'll see. I don't mind though. So the cards are, by the way, the cardstock is very papery. The tactile feel to it is very, very papery, almost dry to the touch, very almost dusty, which is a very odd kind of feeling. But I like this, and it's got as well a very good bounce to it. And let me just show you some of the cards, of course. So this is a collage deck. And I was saying, when I was talking about the Oracle of Awakening by the same creator, I was saying that we have so many collage decks, whether they are tarot or oracle decks, that came out in the last 10 to 15 years. But there was an intensification in the last 2-3 years, I believe. This is an additional major arcana. It's called the Cosmic Seed, and I really love it. And the Cosmic Seed, so we're doing a study with my members. We're doing the study of the Light Seers Tarot together with, let's say, the latest book released by Chris and Donnelly, the Tarot for the Light Seer. So I'm basically integrating the study of the deck with the newest book. And let me tell you, it's amazing. And it talks about the cosmic seed, and it talks about the Fool, and the Fool is literally seen as taking a dive into the cosmic seed. This is, I'm not easily impressed, but when I see something that has been done with so much intention and as much symbolism as we can see in all of the cards, I am impressed. Monumental effort. Hats off to Chris and she's done a fantastic job. Sorry, going back to talk about this deck in specific, as you can see, it is a really beautiful collage deck. I mean, I've got a few, but the reason why I tend to prefer this one to other decks that I may actually end up rehoming, there is one deck that I definitely will rehome because it just doesn't resonate with me anymore, at least, is that the main color palette of all of these cards is the colors that I prefer. So those greens, those blues, those blue purples, those purples, those blurples, however they're called, those teals colors. Regardless of the suit, I really like that there is a preponderance of those colors because they are my favorite. Not entirely happy about seeing a red back. And can I just say one thing, because I do live in Australia, and having arachnophobia in Australia means that you have to learn as much as you can about spiders, because chances are you are surrounded by spider at any given time in your day and also night. So you need to learn as much as you can, because you need to learn whether a spider is venomous, how venomous it is, can it kill you, or is just a garden variety and you should just leave it alone. You need to know these things. If you live in Australia, trust me, you have to know these things. You cannot pretend. Okay, so I have to say, I don't understand whether the, I don't know if you can see this one here, but there is a, yes. So there, do you see this slight red on the spider? Okay, so if the intention was to depict a redback, redbacks do not have this composition. They are skinnier, they are shorter, their abdomen is much rounder, and their legs are not this long. So this one looks, just please bear with me, because I don't know if anyone told you, but actually talking about your fears make you feel more comfortable about them. It's almost as if it were a way to face them. So please bear with me for 10 seconds, not longer than that. If you really hate spiders, then please jump ahead of 10 seconds. This is almost as if a funnel web spider and a redback spider had a baby. Okay, this is a mix between those two. Sorry, continuing, moving on. Please forgive me for that. I just need to get it out. So in any case, really beautiful deck, very beautiful colors. I really can't wait to start working with this deck. There's a couple of Oracle decks that I want to try out with this deck. Not necessarily, or not only the Oracle of Awakening, which would match obviously because it is produced by the same creator, but perhaps a couple of other decks that I'm actually expecting. I don't have them in stock in my collection yet. This is really, really beautiful. Cannot wait to work with this deck, but these were first impressions, let's say, and these I believe are the last decks that I still receive for my birthday. I just wanted to remind you that for the whole month of March, I'm actually hosting this partnership with Auto Spirit, which is a company based in Monterey, California, and they produce these really beautiful jewelry, bracelets, earrings, and also necklaces with crystals and precious stones. And I've got, for example, here's lapis lazuli, aquamarine, and amethyst, which is called the Aquarius pack. Aquarius is my sign, so that's my that was my choice when they contacted me. And if you go in the description box below, you will find the link to Auto Spirit. And if you purchase something, don't forget to use the promotional code Silvia20, because that will give you a really awesome discount on your purchases, and it will be very much appreciated. I do have a small percentage out of this partnership, so when you buy something with that code, you also make sure that I receive a really small token for my presentation of these objects in my channel. But regardless of that, to be honest with you, I'm really happy about partnering up with them, because they're a fantastic company, and also because for each and everything that they sell, so every time they sell one bracelet, for example, $1 out of that sale goes to charity organizations in California devoted to the preservation of sea otters. So of course, I'm a strong advocate for ocean preservations. If you didn't know that, you know now. I've lived by the ocean for 8 years of my life, and I have seen with my own eyes that we really need to fight and preserve this amazing ecosystem that we have in our, on our planet. And so it is something that really speaks to my heart. So that was it for today. Thank you so much for being here with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. But for now, have a great day.